Good morning, and welcome to the What Inspired Me Today podcast, a podcast created to inspire you to be the very best that you can be. My name is Stephen Matthew, and this is what inspired me today.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. It is an honor and a privilege to be speaking with you today. I want to thank you all for continuing your support of this podcast. It is a wonderful sight to be able to see the analytics and see people supporting from around the world. So thank you for your continued support. In this week's podcast, I want to continue with the theme of how to become the best version of yourself. And the way to do that is with what we are talking about this week. You cannot become the best version of yourself without this. And that is self-discipline. This week's quote comes from Gary Ryan Blair, and he says this: "Self-discipline is an act of cultivation. It requires you to connect today's actions to tomorrow's results. There's a season for sowing, a season for reaping. Self-discipline helps you to know which is which." Self-discipline is an act that we all need to improve upon, whether we want to admit it or not. There will be days that we will be highly motivated and highly disciplined, and there'll be days that we aren't, and that is okay. But to get to where we want to be from where we are, we have to use self-discipline to get there. Self-discipline means that we are going to take actionable steps every single day in order to make sure that we're staying on course, staying focused, and moving forward. How can we then become more self-disciplined? The first thing is to set clear and achievable goals for yourself. Now, as we've mentioned about goal setting many times, have a big goal in mind. Have something that will require you to push yourself and beyond your boundaries. However, in saying that, you want to break apart your big goals into small, actionable steps. What that allows you to do is to not lose focus and see and be overwhelmed by the big mountain in front of you, but instead you are able to take small steps every single day towards your end goal. So set reasonable and clear achievable goals. But it's not just about setting goals and having a specific time period in which you want to achieve things. The next thing that we have to do is to make a routine to get there, because it is our daily actions that ultimately determine how far we get in any enterprise, right? That is why they say it takes around 21 days for you to develop a habit, because as your mind starts to put two and two together, saying, oh, this is what I have to do at this time, at this place, or in this specific way in order to get my goal, then this is how I'm going to have to do it. And so as you go through repetition, your mind learns what is important. So establish a daily routine for yourself that helps you to stay on track and to make it easier for yourself to stick to things even when you don't want to. Because the longer that you take those actions and you repeat those actions, you will be able to continue to do it when you don't feel like it. But with that said, you should also know your own temptations, know your strengths and weaknesses, and when you are best able to make those actions. So as an example for you, when I mentioned last week that I want to do and want to practice the art of journaling, I need to set up a specific time, either in the morning or possibly in the evening when I can do that. Then I need to determine what is going to be distractors in my life, what are going to be temptations that stop me from achieving the goal that I want to achieve. Because if we can identify what are our triggers, what are our temptations, what are our distractors, then we can take steps to minimize those said distractions. And so that helps us to be able to make clearer decisions as we pursue our goal. You might want to practice mindfulness in this manner. Mindfulness meaning that If I have a thought that is flying by in my mind and it distracts me from my focus in that present moment in time, I don't have to judge it. I don't need to beat myself up over it, but I can identify, hey, that was a distraction. I need to now pull myself back in focus. This is what mindfulness means in practice. A way to counter distractions in your mind is through this action. I saw someone, I don't know his name, but a YouTuber that actually counts how many distractions he has in a day. In fact, he got to a point where he actually made it a goal to get distracted 100 times a day. What it actually did for him was the opposite of what we normally think might happen with distractions. Every time that he noticed that he was distracted, it actually pulled him back to focusing a lot more. So what happened was, as he tried to track his distractions, he actually became more and more focused in his work. And so maybe you want to try that. Have a little counter or draw a couple of little lines every single time that you get distracted. And what you'll notice is that you slowly start to decrease the amount of times that you are being distracted because you're conscious of when you are going to be. And so that might be a way for you to practice mindfulness in your own life. Once we have a goal, and once we have developed and started a habit, next we need to prioritize our consistency and persistence. And this is the difficulty with self-discipline. Because self-discipline is very much an act of cultivating consistency and persistence. It means that we're going to continue to do an action even when we don't feel like it, even when it might be tough, even when it might not be easy. We're going to continue to pursue that. This is a gradual process. Don't feel like you have to immediately achieve your goal in 10 seconds. That you have to achieve it by the end of this week and you have your self-discipline down packed. In fact, it is going to take time. So focus on small, consistent actions to get to your ultimate goal. Remember, don't let perfection become an enemy of achievement. Meaning that if you can achieve it without it being perfect, then achieve that first. And if you are able to and you have time to, then you have the ability to perfect it more. But you don't need to achieve perfection in order for it to be achieved. Part of our prioritizing persistence and having that self-discipline is to delay our gratification. And delaying gratification is going to be your number one way to achieve your goals. If I know that I can achieve something and I can reward myself at the end of that achievement, then I'm more likely to achieve it. So don't be afraid to reward yourself in those small steps and give yourself a great reward at the end of it, right? Something that is tangible, something that you look forward to. For me, I have little ways of rewarding myself for making these videos and for being consistent with how I produce these podcasts. It takes time, it takes effort. It's even more difficult now that I make videos to do all of the editing. But I have a reward at the end of it to make this something worthwhile for myself. But you will have setbacks and you will have problems that arise when you try and pursue anything. Give yourself grace. Don't be afraid to fail. It is a-okay. Due to technical difficulties, I didn't have a chance to post a podcast a couple weeks ago. And I did give myself a little bit of a, oh man, you should have posted that. But I also realized that for my own mental health and for my own sense of well-being, I didn't want to slog it out and do an overnight editing session just to make sure that I get it posted, because otherwise then I'm not going to be my best self for my work. And so give yourself a little bit of room and margin to allow setbacks to occur. It is okay. And the world is going to continue spinning even if we don't achieve everything that we want to. But when we have those setbacks, it's important to learn what is the lesson in that, what can we do better next time, and sometimes just grieve when we don't get what we want. It is okay. With that said, if we want to achieve more and get further along in life, make sure that you bring people along with you. Have an accountability partner or someone that you can talk to about what your goals are. I have some friends that I talk to about our goals. Every year we sometimes get together and we talk about what are our goals for this year. What are our short-term goals? What are our long-term goals? How have we achieved it? And so that allows me to be accountable to them. It allows them to be accountable to me. And we can continue to pursue becoming our best versions of ourselves by being accountable to each other. But it's not just about accountability. It's also about support. If you want to go fast anywhere in life, do it alone. But if you want to go far anywhere in life, do it with other people. It gives you a support system and a support network when you bring people alongside with you. So, in this act of self-discipline, make sure that you know what your goals are, make sure that you know what your distractions and temptations are, and then practice the art of self-discipline in small, actionable steps every single day. So much so that you develop a habit, and as you develop that habit, it will become easier and easier to pursue it. And the next thing you know, that mountain that you were facing before, you will be at the top of it facing the next goal. So, I want to encourage you. You have the power and you have the ability to get to where you want to go. All it takes is a little bit of self-discipline. Give yourself grace. Give yourselves a little bit of time. Don't demand perfection of yourself, but demand that you try. So with that said, have a great week.